Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday. And welcome to another session of WaveNet TechTonic. And we are excited to kick off this month's session on the topic of power of marketplaces from legacy to digital and the rise of zero touch phase. And today we have Eric Winston leading the discussion. Eric brings over 25 years experience within the sales and business development arena. And also he currently works as an account manager at WaveNet, dealing with multiple global clients. So buckle up and join me in welcoming Eric Winston. And don't forget, we'll have dedicated Q&A session after the talk where you can engage directly with Eric. Eric, over to you.
Thank you, Risha. I hope you're all doing well this Friday evening. So thank you very much once again for joining me for this great session. I'm sure you will enjoy this session and you will have so much more to take back home. So this presentation session will be focused mainly as an informative session, which could inspire you to know more about marketplaces, to drill down about marketplaces, and to look at how these marketplaces have evolved over time. So let me ask you one question as we go into the presentation. What would you say if I told you that the current forecasted revenue from B2C marketplaces in 2027 will be more than the current GDP of India and Great Britain put together? It's a huge amount, isn't it? And also, do you know that the global B2C marketplace revenue has increased fivefold in 10 years? That is predominantly from 1.3 trillion rupees in 2014 to expecting to reach 6.3 trillion in 2024. And also in 2027, the entire global retail business, out of the entire global retail business, 25% is supposed to be expected from these marketplaces. So this would give you an insight as to how powerful the marketplace we are talking about. So as we go into the table of contents, I'm going to break this session into three sections, basically. Initially talking about the evolution of marketplaces, which I'll be focusing on the legacy phase. Then we'll be talking about the impact of marketplaces, which is the digital phase, and then marketplace for tomorrow, which would be the zero touch. Let's dive deep in. So please, like Lishan said, please be kind enough to note down all your Q&As and reach out to us towards the end of the session. So initially, before we dive deep, what is a marketplace? The marketplace could be many things for many people. So let's look at how the marketplace started and how it is going to generate or how it's going to evolve over time. So as we look at what is marketplace, you would be shocked to know that the marketplace, or earlier as it used to be called bazaar or souk, was a name synonymous in the historical elements. And a bazaar is where even today you might be having opportunities to learn that bazaar is being used in certain countries, was started basically in Iran as early as 3000 BC, which is about 5,500 years from today, before. So basically, archaeological elements have proven that these bazaars existed over 5,500 years ago. And also, the need for the marketplaces arrived because there were consumers who wanted to buy and sell their products out there in the marketplaces and make a living out of that. So they wanted to compare their products, they wanted to compare things which are being sold out there, and wanted to purchase products initially. And these three initial things were the key of why a marketplace started. It was ease, relevance, and convenience. And even today, as we look at today's marketplace exists because of these three elements. Ease, which is seamless connectivity or accessibility today. relevance in terms of the products and services which are being sold in the marketplaces, and convenience in the terms of customer experience. So ideally, although the words have changed over time, the same initial basic fundamentals remain the same as it was 5,500 years ago and even today. So that I believe is the secret of the evolution of the marketplace. So as we dive deep, let's just understand how these marketplaces evolved over time. Initially, it was a need-based marketplace, open, street-based, and then it moved into print, where print media started evolving over time, and then classified elements started propping up and here and there. Then we see shopping center marketplaces, where one building hosted many shops within itself. It was location based. Then the digital marketplaces evolved over time. And now we find very specialized niche marketplaces, vertical, horizontal marketplaces being born over time. And the next is a question mark. What is next? Let's cover that in the marketplace for tomorrow's section. So let's talk about, since we are all in the digital realm, I believe it will be apt to talk about how the online marketplace evolved over time. So I'm not sure whether you will believe it, but in 1969, CompuServe, a company called CompuServe initially started a concept of a marketplace where they were doing time sharing and remote access services. That means when you talk about time sharing, I had to look this up. When I had to look this up, it was talking about where this organization was giving access to computer-related remote accesses to do certain computer-related elements through their platform. So this was the startup of marketplaces. And then in 1979, nearly 10 years after that, you see Michael Aldrich, he invents the initial electronic shopping. Then in 1982, Boston Computer Exchange, a bulletin board marketplace, was used to sell computers, used computers over time. And mind you, still the World Wide Web or the internet has not been launched. So I can't imagine a time without internet how marketplaces evolved, or the digital marketplaces or online marketplaces evolved. Then in 1984, CompuServe once again created history by introducing an online marketplace to share color pictures, which is called electronic mail, not an email, but this particular website was called electronic mail. They shared colorful pictures. Then at last in 1990, we all know that the www or the internet was launched. So from there onwards, it took a exceptionally speed growth. Yeah, in 1995, Amazon and eBay launched. In 1998, e-commerce payment system PayPal launched. In 2000, Google AdWords introduced their advertisements through e-commerce sites. And then Amazon, through the Amazon Prime membership, opened deals and offerings through the marketplaces. In 2009, a company called Square debuts debit and credit card payments, which enabled credit and debit card payments in 2009. Not far away from now, I should say. So in 2014, you find the e-commerce payment system through Apple Pay launched. And in 2015, Google launches Android Pay. So I'm sure the journey is continuing and it will continue towards the future, but this is a glimpse of how the online marketplace evolved over time. So in a nutshell, I should say, if you look at how the marketplace evolved over time, you will realize initially the country had so many shops and vendors spread all over the nation, selling multiple products and services isolated. But then it started coming into an area or a location where many vendors joined together in one location to sell and exchange their products and services. Then that shifted to a place where one building hosted multiple vendors. Instead of one location, a building itself hosted multiple locations. Then, once the digital alignment took place, the computer started holding multiple vendors through their marketplaces. And today, we are able to access the entire marketplace gamut of offerings or their products and services through the mobile phone. So how wonderful it is to note that an entire world is now being held in our hands, and it is able to access the entire global marketplace in a touch of a section. So this is basically the evolution of how the marketplace took place. Let's now dive into the second part of it. What would be the impact of a marketplace in today's context? This is one of the most important points which we all need to take heart on, because this is the digital phase. This is where we identify, we understand how marketplaces have really impacted the lives of you and me. So as we look into some statistics, we see 73% of consumers are iterating that customer experience is utmost important for their purchasing behaviors. So today, in the marketplace, we know that we don't see people face to face, but the customer experience which is enabled digitally gives the confidence and trust to the customer to buy and sell through the marketplaces. And the second statistics talks about 47% of digital purchases globally are facilitated through online marketplace platforms. Can you imagine that? I'm sure that a decade ago, we would all be a bit reluctant to go online to purchase or sell goods and services. But just 10 years down the line, we see 47% of digital purchases are being enabled through the platform. And as we stated earlier, 25% of global retail sales are going to be enabled by this marketplace by 2027. And it says also 81% of growth rate of enterprise marketplaces has enabled B2B businesses being evolved over time. This is nearly 2x speed of the e-commerce marketplace. And today we know many businesses, enterprises, telcos are talking about digital transformation, digital optimization. And we find Gartner, who is a very reliable source, highlighting that marketplaces is going to be one of the main digital technology enablement for the future. That is going to be the platform which is going to enable digital technology coming up in the years to come. And not only that, this touches the most important phases within the digital realm, which is digital business optimization and digital business transformation. Many organizations today embrace digital business strategy using those both elements. So the marketplace is one of the very few factors which enables both of them parallelly. We could say improving productivity, customer experience, and existing revenue is enabled through the optimization layer by launching new net products and services, and the new business models are enabling the business transformation within business. Let's just jump into a few statistics before we dive in to some of the marketplaces. Here we see that by 2027, 8 trillion sales is going to be enabled by the global marketplace. Like I told you previously, this shows the involvement over years from 2014 to 2027, how the marketplace has evolved over the years. It's a great statistic to take mind of. So as we look at marketplaces, like I initially said, there are many various marketplaces. Sometimes it's very difficult to understand what these marketplaces are. So let me quickly run through each of these marketplaces. When we talk about B2B marketplaces, predominantly we talk about business to business, where it's wholesale retail models, and where it's estimated that by 2024, that is by end of the year, this B2B marketplace is going to be touching 3.6 trillion over this year. And this marketplace could be contributed to Alibaba, Amazon, and many more B2B marketplaces where vendors, wholesale vendors, sell their products to retail vendors. It happens within the B2B spaces. So the next marketplace is what we all know. It's a B2C marketplace. I'm sure we all are part of this B2C marketplace by purchasing through local marketplaces like Daras and global marketplaces like AliExpress, eBay, App Store, Amazon, Google Play, and so many marketplaces where it has broken the traditional marketplaces of brick and mortar of going into a store and bringing the stores into our laptops and into our mobile phones, into our fingertips. The next marketplace we are going to talk about is a customer-to-customer marketplace. I'm sure when I say customer-to-customer, you might be finding it difficult to keep in mind, okay, what is customer-to-customer? Customer-to-customer is like heated where a customer advertises his products or service for another customer to purchase. It could be Alibaba, Taobao marketplace, where everything is sold from the customer to customer without any intermediary. So it's directly sold from customer to customer. Then we have peer-to-peer, a marketplace or a two-sided marketplace as it's called, where we could look at Uber, where a car is being put out for services for hire, while we also, on the other hand, go into renting or getting an Uber for our travel purposes. So it's both ways. Either you can rent it or you can travel. Similarly, Airbnb, you can also rent your own space or you can go into a space which is cheap when you travel overseas. So it's a two-way marketplace where the marketplace facilitates both ends of the spectrum. Then you have the horizontal marketplace. A horizontal marketplace talks about the entire industry. Now, when you take a construction industry, you might note, as you take a construction industry, you might have people who are selling materials, construction materials, hardware materials. You might find people who are actually doing interior, exterior design, who are consultants, who are architects. Every one of them can be a part of this horizontal marketplace, which could be dedicated for construction industry or an education industry. We'll go into more examples down the line when we talk about the future of marketplaces. And as we look into vertical B2B marketplaces, it's basically vertical. So you see pharmaceuticals, you might see electronic marketplaces, or you see certain construction marketplaces, or you may find educational marketplaces. So you can find them. You all know that it's a famous marketplace for courses, 99 Designs, a marketplace for designing, logo designing, and so on. Airbnb, where you go for the specified elements of renting a space. So you might find now Airbnb or Alibaba being in multiple alignments of marketplaces, which is a natural thing. Although you might be specialized in certain elements, you might also overlap in some areas. And then we have product marketplaces, right? We have Amazon, Flipkart, eBay, who sells products predominantly. Like an e-commerce marketplace, you can call them, that is what we generally call as an e-commerce marketplace, a product marketplace. Then we have a service marketplace, where you find people like Fiverr, Upwork, giving freelancing opportunities. It's a service-oriented marketplace, completely oriented towards service. And then finally, you might find API marketplace, just like Hypermart, which starts with an API marketplace. And then you have other global marketplace, which enables APIs. And through APIs, interconnects many services towards this marketplace, benefiting billions of people within the marketplaces. So as we talk about the marketplace, I thought it's also important that we understand certain business models within the marketplaces. Because these business models sometimes enable us to identify and talk about how we can incorporate these business models within our marketplaces. So let's talk about, there are seven ways where marketplaces basically talk about business models. There are commission-based marketplaces. When you say commission, these platforms basically pay hires a transaction fee for every transaction being enabled through the marketplace. It is a very popular model these days where it's a percentage, a small percentage could be levied from your sale. So it's more like a commission-based marketplace. So it attracts more suppliers because they know that they could get more opportunities in this marketplace. And also there is more opportunities to monetize. And the only challenge is that our marketplace should be giving the confidence that we have enough value for people to come in. And the pricing or the commission amounts should be very attractive in order to attract people to this kind of business model. Then the second business model in the marketplace today is subscription based. Generally, a regular bulk subscription is charged for accessing the platform. As soon as you go into the platform, you might find multiple opportunities for you. It could be like freelancing. It could be like you promote your services. It could be that you access many pictures like Adobe and so on and so forth. You have a subscription. So the main element is if there is good value addition, people are prone to come into these marketplaces and subscribe. These attracts more customers and they understand that there is value in these marketplaces. And it's a subscription based model. Then you also have a listing based model. There are some major marketplaces advertise on listing of advertising a small description of your company and giving you links to your company and your business and your products. Thereby, you are able to go into those marketplaces which already has advertising enabled. Thereby, there are people who are visiting the marketplaces, who are benefiting out of the marketplaces, and they are able to access your products and services through this. And there's a small fee for listing your company in the marketplace. Then you have another model called freemium. This freemium is where you have a small element of a revenue model enabled where the customers can access certain features free of charge, but there's a limit to everything. But when they go into for more information or more details, they might have to go into a paid model. This could be like websites which enables you like links and so on, where you pay, where you're given free access to do certain developments, but down the line, you need to pay if you want to have some value additional features embedded into your websites or anything like that. So it's a freemium model. So next is a featured listing and advertising. The featured listing and advertising model is where the sellers buy advertising privileges and enhance their visibility on the platform. Basically, these are the guys who have certain categories, they're listed in certain categories, and through those listings, they are able to sell their products and services freely. So this is one. And the number 6 is going to be called a lead fee. So here the leads are being enabled and passed down to a seller, thereby every lead you have to pay a fee for every lead, basically. This is an online marketplace revenue model where user posts requests and the suppliers pay a fee to bid for the customer, basically. So the requirement is already aligned, but if you want to bid for that requirement, you need to pay a small lead fee in order to get into and bid for that project. So that's another creative way of enabling your marketplace. And then finally, you have a mixed marketplace where you mix several models together, several revenue sources together, and you make whatever is possible, whatever is feasible, and whatever is relevant to your customer base. So these market business models are really important because these are some of the key elements which you could embed into your marketplace when you create a marketplace or when you sell a marketplace. So this could be one of the most monetizing elements within your marketplaces. So as we talked about many things, I just want to identify, okay, what is the fundamental value proposition in a marketplace? What is it? Ramesh Johari, a Stanford professor, says, marketplaces takes frictions away. Marketplaces takes frictions away. So what are these frictions we are talking about? Initially, we all know moving a shop from one place to another was not going to be easy. It was built of brick and mortar. It was booths, stalls, building, rebuilding, breaking and taking it away is not an easy task. So shifting, scaling and growing was not easy. But today, if I want to go to a foreign country, I don't want to spend much. I want to spend little, but I want to travel a lot. So then I need a place I need to stay within a fraction of an amount. So the friction of paying extra or an expensive place is broken through a Airbnb space. At night, 11 o'clock, I want to travel. I do not have a vehicle. There's an emergency. How do I travel? How do I move from place A to B? That's where that friction of travel is broken when I have Uber. So these are the frictions of our day-to-day lives where we need to identify what frictions do our marketplace serve. That's a very good way of looking at it. As we build marketplaces, it's important that we analyze and list all the frictions we might be serving through our marketplaces. What are we enabling? What are we eliminating? What are we eradicating through our marketplaces? What is the problems we are serving? What are the frictions we are moving away? So as we look at some key impacts of marketplaces in today's context, I'll list a few. We know that today's marketplace has enabled large retailers to go online. Earlier, they were very comfortable with their stores, including predominant brands like Adidas, Nike, and so many things. So many brands are forced to come online nowadays because they know that there is a huge amount of business happening online. And also, this has helped small businesses who are nowhere in the radar to sell directly to customers through their online marketplaces. Another important element is it has broken monopolies of large, well-known brands in the markets. Further, it has created opportunities to customers to source items from anywhere in the world. Can you and I imagine 10 years back that we could source something from China, that we could source something sitting at our homes through our mobiles, that we could source something which is so far away from us? But now that is being enabled through the marketplaces. And we have been exposed to global products, global brands, and purchasing is not limited to location anymore. In 2021, will you believe if I say 2.14 billion people worldwide were shopping online? And it has grown from 1.66 in 2016, just in 5 years, it has grown over 0.5 billion. That is 500 million people grew within the marketplace. And then the next thing, companies started not just focusing on selling, but also offering great customer experience because they understood that 74% of customers are expecting great customer experiences because they do not see us physically, they do not see a product physically, but through the marketplace, through the experience they gain through the marketplace, they are able to gauge the seller, able to gauge the quality of the product and start purchasing. And today the marketplace has increased the ability to scale and grow dynamically like never imagined before. In Q4 2021, the Mason says that 56% of its paid units were sold by third party, even not through them directly, but through third party. You can look at the dynamics of scaling there. And then this has not only impacted the IT or the digital space, but also this has impacted the supply chain management, where warehousing has increased, delivery inventory has increased, the entire gamut of elements of perspectives have changed in supply chain. And now new jobs are being created over, where it says e-commerce employment has set to increase 32% in 2020. So finally, let's go into the final phase where we talk about the zero touch phase or the marketplace for tomorrow. In a nutshell, the entire way the business has been working, the entire dynamics of business and all traditional barriers have been broken because of this marketplace, which is going to enable us for tomorrow. The zero touch phase. So you might be wondering, what is this zero touch phase? As I dive into this, I want you to put on your imaginative hats. I want you to come up with tomorrow's marketplace ideas. If you're able to please some creative marketplace ideas in the chat right now, so that as we finish, as we conclude, let's talk about them. Let's discuss about them. I want it to be very interactive. We know that today all science fiction movies have become a reality. So why not we be creative and imaginative and start thinking of what tomorrow's marketplace could look like? Let's talk about it. Please feel free to put on some chats. So what is zero touch digital marketplace? Or what is the objective of zero digital touch marketplace? It's basically simplifying B2B or B2B2X solutions for consumers, for customers, for telcos, for enterprises. And then the next part is increasing the operational efficiency of them. Yeah, they could do multiple things with a minimal investment. We all know that through the marketplace, you reduce so much of cost and operational expenses. You start reaching multiple people, multiple markets, multiple dynamics of people by these reduced operational expenses and increased operational efficiency. And then not only that, we talk about increasing revenue streams, not just in your stream, but looking at multiple cross-industry solutions. I'm going to talk about three sectors where marketplaces could evolve and could maybe create a revolution. This is my imagination. I imagine that our product at WaveNet, Hypermart, could really enable this. Let me talk about that imaginative approach. So as we talk about telcos, I see telcos are offering their core telco offerings. When you take the green element, the core telco offerings, we talk about voice plans, eSIMs, data plans, bundle plans, broadband solutions, TV solutions. These are the core telco offerings. We also have the core telcos having partners and vendors and service providers who could be handset providers, accessory providers, application providers, gaming developers, gaming console providers, and so on. Then we have telco enterprise customers who are seated on the telco space. These are not enterprise people who are actually getting something out of the telcos, but who can offer something to the telco marketplace or the entire ecosystem. These are OTT providers, hyperscalers, maybe banks, maybe BNP, buy now, pay later vendors, mobile money vendors, fintech, mobile wallets. All these people could be telco enterprise sellers who sell products and services into the telco space or into that ecosystem. And finally, you have the consumers who are actually enjoying the benefits out of this telco market space. But today's telcos are many focused on only specific elements of these marketplaces and have not gone into this entire ecosystem. I need to highlight that we at Hypermart, we at WaveNet are able to connect the dots for you. We are able to connect B2B, B2C, B2B2C, and enable the entire marketplace for you today. And this entire ecosystem can be connected to the loyalty management platforms of the telcos, and it could enable AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality in the future within the marketplaces. This could enable blockchain technologies within for payments. It could enable recommendation engines, the next best offer, the next best actions. We could have a chatbot, which is generative AI enabled, agent assist, and AI enabled elements to choose, to pick, and data lakes, which could enable. Let me quickly run through another tool of my imaginative marketplace. One is banks, where we talk about the core banking services being savings, loans, credits, remittances, and money transfers. And then we talk about partners who could be BNPL partners, money transfer companies who are transferring money to banks within banks. And then we have banking enterprise sellers who could be real estates, vehicle sellers, product sellers, and retail shops. and finally the consumers. And again, you're enabling the entire gamut of the ecosystem as in telco. And finally, I'm going to take you through a very interesting marketplace. I'm not sure whether you have thought about it. This is an education marketplace. Here, a big education institute can have a marketplace where their co-education services could be tuition, examinations, assignments, curriculum, consultation, library, and extracurricular activities within the co-education services. Then they could enable their affiliated universities, university governing bodies, regulatory bodies, who actually partner to support these core university services. Then you have value additional enterprises who can be banking, who grants loan for the students, education consultants who guides you and leads you to what best educational qualification institution you need to choose. Then you have computer vendors who sell you digital appliances. Then you have bookshops who are catering to the books which are needed. And then you have sponsors who are coming into this, who are giving certain sponsorship based on your capabilities. So all these could be enabled in an education marketplace where students could source all these benefits through that education marketplace. So these were some of my imaginative marketplace elements. So some of the specific outcomes of this would be the marketplace enables the entire ecosystem. It enhances the customer experience. It gives a cross-telco or a cross-enterprise product purchase, seamless connectivity, AI-driven capabilities, comprehensive insights, dashboards, reporting, payment gateway and integration support, and finally, the fulfillment. Basically, discovery to fulfillment. So what is it that we could offer as Hypermart? This is where I would like to introduce WaveNet and bring WaveNet into the picture. As we talk about multiple modules of marketplace, multiple ways how marketplaces could impact our lives, I would love to say that we have a product which could enable you to go into a phase-out approach model, to enable yourself to optimize your operation, to increase revenue through monetization, and bringing security advancements features within your marketplace to secure your marketplace and your business. So today you might be a telco listening to me, you might be an enterprise listening to me. Whoever you are, I want to warmly welcome you to subscribe to us, get to know what we have, reach out to us so that we will be able to educate you and give you a glimpse of what we are capable of doing. Hypermart is our marketplace which could cater your B2B, B2C, C2C, B2B2C, B2B2X needs. And we enable a next-gen development studio, which is called Compose. And we have partner management elements, we have self-care, product catalogs, charging and billing modules, which enables your entire journey to be online. And to make things very simple, I would like to just explain this picture before we go into the Q&A session. So you might be a marketplace owner right down in the bottom. You might be looking at a marketplace where you want to enable your services, you want to push your services, you want to monetize certain services which are already there available. So we have the APIs and microservices which could be enabled. We have product-related elements which could be sold through the marketplace. We have solutions which could be bundled up and sold to your customers. And we also have a platform which could help you and enable you do that effectively and efficiently. It's called Compose, where it's a development-based platform which could help developers. It's a no-code, low-code platform which could help developers to create their APIs, convert them into microservices, publish them, taking you to an entire gamut of new service areas. And you have Ahasa, which is our cloud platform, where you can enable that to directly go into the cloud and move into the cloud platforms and publish your services in the cloud. And also here we see B2C customers being enabled, B2B, B2B2C, and also builders, developers. Through the Compose platform, builders and developers are able to come into the platform, build their own applications, publish their own applications onto APIs and monetize them. So I hope this session was fruitful for you. I hope you have gained multiple areas. And I believe that you would be able to take a few of them and look at how you could make them really valuable in your spaces. So let's go into the Q&A session. Let's look at whether there are any Q&As so that we could answer. So I'm not a technical person, let me be upfront. So I'm a very business-oriented guy. So I hope the questions will be more business-oriented. So let's talk about that.
As Eric said, we now have time for your questions. So please don't hesitate to raise your hand on the chat, or I can provide you the mic access. And also feel free to type in your questions in the chat window if you have questions.
Yes, sir. Like you said, like the hypermart is capable not only for telco sectors, also for banking sectors. Like, does it mean like so once we get this like onboarded with hypermart, like is it capable to like publish any kind of digital assets within your product, or like how does it work?
Yes, actually, I think Hypermart is one of the few marketplaces which could enable digital assets as well as not just products, but digital assets as well as APIs. Yeah, sometimes you need to create digital assets. Even the creation part of it, creating some of the digital assets, would be enabled through the Hypermart. Basically, because we have a platform called Compose, like I said, it's a low-code, no-code developer platform. Even through those platforms, we see people developing certain digital assets and publishing them. So I think it's not only like we just publish, but we enable people to create certain digital assets and transform their legacy elements into digital and publish them. That's a very good question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lafahan. Any more questions? We still have some time.
And another thing I would like to highlight is basically you not only create APIs, basically you use those APIs and you start monetizing them, because that's where the challenges are for many of those. They create the APIs, they use it for internal purposes, but there is a section where you can also monetize. So I think that monetizing element or making sure that your existing digital assets are being is out there into the market and you're enabling others to benefit out of them, and you yourself benefiting out of that by earning the revenue is key. And I think Hypermart is one of those very few marketplaces which could really enable that in the marketplace out there.
Hi, Eric. I'm just wondering, for a business who is planning to launch a marketplace, like you mentioned, what are the prerequisites or the base areas that they need to check box, before launching a marketplace like this? What are the things that they need to have?
Right. I think right. So I think before we launch a marketplace, I do have a slide in this because because of the time constraints, actually I moved a bit quicker. But let me quickly run through that. Let me quickly take that on. I think some of the prerequisites of having a successful marketplace strategy is basically 5 things. One is, I believe, that we should select a viable industry. We should be limiting ourselves for a very niche market, because when we limit ourselves for a very niche market, when we start the marketplace, we limit our options and opportunities. So serving a big viable industry is number one. Number two, we need to clearly define a value proposition, because marketplaces are cluttered. We need to be very clear in ensuring that we define our value proposition very clearly. For example, it says, sign up to us and pay your creators and influencers in 5 minutes. Download fast payment, download us and get a 50% discount, or connect with us and reach 50,000 buyers from 55 countries worldwide. So we need to have a very striking message and a value proposition when we do a marketplace. Number three, we need to have a right business model. I spoke about 7 business models. So it's important you choose a right business model in where you start operating, because otherwise you will not be able to monetize things. And number 4, they say if you are in a very monopolistic market, then you're fine, you're the only player there. But if you're looking at a marketplace where it's saturated, then your products and service or your offerings should be basically, and the customer experience should be 10x better than the rest, or you should be ahead of the curve. And the fifth and the final utmost important thing is building trust and growth. So I believe those 5 are generically important. But as you see now, when you look at on a very technology point of view, these are the generic business oriented elements which we need to be mindful of, Tarushi. But when you look at digital elements, I think we should be looking at a marketplace which just not enables a portion of things, because many I've noticed and I've experienced when I've spoken to many telcos, they stick with a very limited amount of marketplace scope, and thereby they have not exploited the rest. So my invitation would be, we need to exploit the rest of the elements where you can really enter the entire ecosystem. Thereby, you need to be looking at, okay, what assets do I have? What assets can I monetize? How do I monetize it? What marketplaces monetizes it? And when they look for those questions, they will automatically realize that very few marketplaces globally today can enable that. And like I said, Hypermart is one of the very few who can enable their entire journey over time. You might have some marketplaces very stagnant. There's nothing you can do apart from that. But at Hypermart, you can scale up over time. And I think that is one of the important features the marketplace, a guy who is or a company who's looking into entering the marketplace business should also be looking at. Thank you very much for that question. That's a great question.
Thanks, Eric.
So, and that concludes our session for today. And a very big thank you for Eric for sharing his valuable insights and expertise on the evolution and the impact of marketplaces throughout the ages, and also what the future holds. And to all of you in the audience, thank you for your participation and the insightful questions. And we truly appreciate you joining us and hope you learned something new and interesting today. And also, you can keep an eye on our social spaces for more information on our next WaveNet Tech Talk sessions, which is happening monthly. And Eric, do you want to say something?
Yes, I would thank you very much for joining me today. I think it's great to have each and every one of you all joining me. And thank you, WaveNet, and thank you, the marketing team, for enabling me to be a part of this great session. Thank you once again.
Thanks, Eric. And until we meet again, keep exploring and keep innovating. Have a wonderful weekend ahead, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.